Welcome back, guys. Today in my Greek kitchen, we are going to be making the classic dish of moussaka. So follow along, and we're going to be starting with the sauce part. So we are going to start with one whole onion, and you can either chop it super finely or you can use a food processor or multi that I have here to basically make it super fine. And then we're going to add 3 cloves of garlic to this, and then we are going to pulse it out so it is nicely finely chopped. So we're looking for like a nice chopped texture like so. So now I'm just going to turn on the heat here to about 7, and we're going to add some olive oil to the pot. We're going to use about 3 tablespoons or so of olive oil. Once it is heated up, then we're going to add the ground onions and garlic to it and saute it before we start adding the ground beef. Now with moussaka, you can actually use ground beef or ground lamb. Today I did choose to go the beef route, but you can do ground lamb too if you want. Either or, they're both traditional, right, Stavros?
Right. You know, there's an old saying that moussaka is the original ancient lasagna, and then after years and years and centuries, the Italians modified it with a little bit of their own twist, eh?
I thought that was more pasticcio. Pasticcio is more the pasta, just for you guys
right.
that are
Mousaka's
listening. Moussaka, we actually are putting layers of potato, eggplant, and zucchini with the beef mixture.
That's why you're the chef,
and then the
camera.
bechamel on sauce.
There you
go. So once this is heated up, we're going to start to saute. So I'll show you in a moment. In the meantime, while the pot is getting hot with the olive oil, we're just going to pre-slice the eggplants, and we're just going to soak them in a saltwater brine to get rid of all of like the bitterness that some of the eggplants can give. So it depends. You can use whichever eggplant that you like. These ones were super fresh at the Laiki, so this is what I decided to pick up. But again, you can use like the Sicilian eggplants. You can use Chinese eggplants. Whichever version you get is no problem. So just make sure to your water you add quite a bit of salt so that it takes out again all that bitterness. And then you're just going to add the slices right in. So the oil is hot, as you can see, so we're just going to start to add the onions, and I lowered the temperature down, and then we're just going to make this go until a little bit the aroma starts to come, and then we can add our beef to this equation. So I have all my fresh beef right here, and I have quite a bit. I have 1¼ kilos, so I'm just going to use about, I would imagine it looks around 400 or so grams. I'm just going to use about that much to this. And then we're just going to really break it in before we add the tomato sauce and some spices. Okay, so as the beef is sauteing, I'm actually just gonna come over and pre-start the oven because we are going to roast all of the vegetables in the oven. So traditionally, a lot of the recipes have actually frying the potatoes, frying the zucchini, frying the eggplant, but I don't like to do that, as you guys know, so I actually am going to bake everything in the oven first. So I just want to preheat the oven to 175 to 350 degrees. Once it's at that temperature, we're going to lay out all of the potatoes and zucchini and eggplant on 2 trays and put them in the oven.
And why don't you like frying them?
Obviously, it's not as healthy. So for me, I rather bake it, and also it gives it a lighter taste. So when you fry it, it is quite heavy because of just the frying that's involved.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what do we do now? What are you waiting for there?
Oh, now I'm just waiting for the beef to saute before I can add the tomato sauce in. And then I'm going to just use these 2 trays over here, parchment line them, and then we're going to put the zucchini, eggplants, and the potato slices. So you can already see the water from the eggplants is already starting to come out like brown color, right? So this is exactly what we want for the eggplants. The zucchini and potatoes, we obviously don't need to soak. So the zucchinis are already washed. So we just need to make sure we cut off the ends of both sides, sorry. And then we're just going to thinly, like not super thin, but we're just going to give them a nice cut before we throw them in the oven, with just a touch of salt on top of it, just to release some of the water from each of the vegetables. Okay, so we added both of the tomato sauces to this. Now I'm just going to drop down the heat, so it's going to be around a 5. And then I'm going to cover it with the lid and just basically let it simmer. That's it. So I've chopped some of the zucchinis, but I'm just gonna bring the tray that I'm gonna be actually making the moussaka in, and just gonna layer just to see. I mean, obviously when they roast, they're gonna be a little bit of a smaller size, but I just don't want to chop too many or not enough. So hence why I like to just do this just to make sure. But if you always roast more, it's fine, because roasted zucchini taste amazing on their own. So we are definitely going to need that extra one there.
I'm sure you can figure out another dish to add onto the side with some roasted zucchini.
Oh yeah, but even just on its own, just a little bit of like salt and pepper is amazing. So
I love how you're cutting it like
not
traditional
easy.
style, not proper professional chef style, like proper in your hand, old school style.
I'm just used to doing it like this. I mean, I have the cutting board, I'm not sure why, but now we have so this is how I'm actually going to roast them. So I'm just going to put them in the actual parchment lined tray. And then I'm just going to sprinkle them with a touch of sea salt. And then they're going to roast for around like 15 or so minutes. This oven gets like super hot, even though it's at 175. I find it works much faster than my other oven, so I'm just going to keep an eye on it. Yeah, and I'm going to keep an eye on it just to see how, like, make sure at the 15 minutes it could be good. This one I'm going to cut smaller. Voila, and then just a sprinkle of salt. So this will help to bring out the water, like I said before.
And some flavor too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're going to flavor it more as the layers go on, but like this. And then when the oven temperature reaches, I will put it in the oven. So for now, I'm going to chop up the potato. Actually, I'm going to let these eggplants soak a little bit more, just to get out more of that. See the darkness? You can really see that it's already starting to expel it. So this one won't. I find usually like the Sicilian and the other bigger, like the black skinned eggplants will produce more of the bitterness.
Yeah.
So with the lighter flesh, then it doesn't produce it as much. And I know for sure if you use the Chinese eggplants, you actually don't need to soak them at all. So depending on which type of eggplant, then just do a search to see how long you should soak it for.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to just peel the potatoes, and then again, we're going to use the other tray to roast them. So I, again, don't like to fry it, even though traditionally I know the recipe is for frying, but we've already talked about that. So to this pan, I just added a little bit of olive oil instead of using parchment paper. You can use parchment paper too. I just like the oil flavor anyways. And we're going to chop the potatoes now. So again, a little bit like on the, it doesn't need to be super thin. We want it to actually, this is the base of the moussaka, so we do need it to be on the thicker side. So don't be afraid to.
Add a bit of structure, I guess.
Yeah, so this is the bottom layer, and then we do the eggplant, and then we do the zucchini on top. So if you just think of it in terms of like the actual like plants themselves, the vegetables themselves, like the potato is the thicker of them, and then eggplant, and then the zucchini zucchini is the softest one, so that one's going to go in the top. So again, we're just slicing them, and I probably have a little bit more potatoes than needed, but that's okay. We'll find something else to do with the extras if we have. I rather have extra than not enough. And then
the layering is quite easy. You just go with your eyes, see where there's some spaces.
Oh yeah. And then also I'm just going to say that we're adding the salt to this layer too. And I'll need to roast everything. So that's why with the potatoes, eggplant, and zucchini, like up as I cut myself. It's okay, I didn't think. That's why I start with the sauce, because with the sauce, it actually takes more time. We want it to simmer and start to actually get nice flavor. So we start with that, and then in the meantime, all the rest of the vegetables, they can hang out once they're roasted. But the sauce is where we're getting that good flavor from. So if you're rushing the sauce, the moussaka is not going to taste good. And then we're just going to sprinkle the salt on here. And we're going to have to do a second or third tray, with the eggplant, so extra potatoes. I'm just going to throw them in. So I actually squeezed around the zucchinis to fit the extra potatoes, and now the oven is ready. So we are going to put these bad boys in the oven, and I'm going to put the timer on for 15 minutes. So one on the top, one on the bottom, and then we will see if we need to rotate them. So timer 15. Oh, all right, we're good. As you can tell, the sauce is nice and simmered. So I am going to give it a nice mix. And to this, I'm going to add our ground oregano. So dried ground oregano, and then we're going to add some salt and a little bit of black pepper. I'm going to drop down the temperature again, so it's at 3 now. Just give this another mix. I'm going to cover it and just let it continue to simmer, but now just start to get that flavor in there too. If you have fresh herbs, you can always do a little bit of like fresh herbs as well. So a little bit of fresh rosemary, like very, very little bit because it's very strong, but more of like the fresh oregano. You can even do a little bit of fresh basil to make it a little bit more Italian style, or you can do very little bit of fresh parsley as well. So if you have those ones, go for it. Otherwise, use the dried, and then just let it simmer and do its thing. So I've decided that I'm actually going to do the eggplants at the same time because I have this other tray. So you just need to really make sure that they are super dry before putting them in the oven. So that's why I just have a clean dish towel here and then a paper towel, again, just to make sure that there's no additional moisture to it. And then we will sprinkle these with salt, and we are going to add this to the oven along with the zucchini and the potatoes.
Just simple towel?
Yeah.
Your hand towel?
This is just this is just a dishcloth, and then this is just a nice paper towel just to make sure that there's nothing on it still.
I'm going to be in there for 15 minutes like the other one?
So this will be in, for about 15-20 minutes, and then I'm going to check it and see if it needs longer. So they are cut quite thick. However, when the moussaka goes in the oven, it is going to cook for another hour, so it will have time to get tender. So you don't need to worry about it being completely charred for this first sec. So I'm going to sprinkle everything with a touch of salt again, and then I just really want to show you guys the water. So this is why we soak eggplants, just to make sure that we're discarding all that bitterness. So if you don't, it will definitely change the flavor of your whole moussaka. But in general with eggplant, if you're not soaking it and getting rid of that bitterness, it will drastically change the flavor of whatever dish that you're making. So make sure you soak it. Into the oven we go. So my oven only has 2 tray capacity, so I'm just gonna put it right on the base there and have everything ready. Voila. 15 minutes has come up. I'm just gonna flip all these potatoes and I'm just gonna put them back in for about another 15 until they are more tender, and then we are ready to start to put our full moussaka together and make the bechamel. So again, the same thing for this tray. So we're just gonna flip around all the zucchinis. You can see with the zucchinis that they're definitely already starting to get more tender. So even these probably won't need the full 15, but I'm gonna check in about 10 minutes for the other side and see if they're ready, then we'll pull them out. So the sauce is ready and you can see all of it right here. If this had smell vision, you would be salivating right now. So we're gonna set this aside, and then on the like a bigger pot, we're gonna get this one ready to go on about a 7, and we're going to start to make the bechamel sauce. So we're gonna start with some olive oil, of course. So about like 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then we're gonna add our milk. So we're gonna need, for every 1 1/4 cup of milk, we'll need 3 tablespoons of flour. So I'm just gonna measure that out right now.
So we can do some maths now.
We have to do some maths. Add another, so we're at 6. So pretty much I would say it's about a full liter of milk, I would estimate at this point.
Bechamel's so big, you just have it after.
Yeah, you guys can eat it and enjoy it afterwards. So we need 6. So we need to do this. 3 is for 1. So
for 1 cup of milk.
Yeah, 1 1/4 cup.
1 1/4.
I'm using some organic flour here that I picked up in Greece. So
6.
6? Good. I'm glad you're listening. Okay, 6. And more I will add, but now is where the fun begins. This is where the work happens. So we need to really make sure everything is worked in, and then I'm going to add a touch of sea salt to this. This is where you need a crew so that if your arm gets tired, you switch it out.
Oh, you work out, so.
It's true. And I have never personally used gluten-free flour. I usually don't eat the bechamel sauce. I'll just eat the layers of veggies and the meat. But if you guys have ever tried making bechamel with a gluten-free flour, let me know how it's turned out. I've always been curious to find out if it has a good taste.
Flour doesn't bother you here in Greece, does it?
No, this flour doesn't bother me, or the milk. And again, in North America, it does. So the flour and dairy in North America I cannot have, but here I can. So it's just the way that they process or lack of processing, let's just say.
So how long are you gonna mix this for now?
So we're gonna
What are you
mix
looking
it
for,
until it starts to actually get thicker and starts to bubble. So
Okay.
we're gonna be here for a while.
I'll be right back.
I took the eggplants just out of the oven, and I took them out of the tray because we're gonna need that tray to make the moussaka. But you can see here that they're nice roasted, and you can, like, it has the beautiful fragrance smell. And remember, it's gonna cook for more. So it's already this soft, so that's why I pulled it out, because I don't want them to start to actually disintegrate, because we need them to be sturdy for the actual moussaka. Okay, so if you see that it's still a little bit runny, like you can see it's getting thick, but it's not at the texture that it would need, we're just gonna actually put the heat up. So I'm putting it up to 8 right now. And you may need to add a touch more flour too. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. So we're just gonna add a little bit at a time just to make sure. And you can already see just those two differences in that little sprinkle of flour. See how it's already starting to get thicker. And this is exactly what we're wanting it to become. So we are gonna wait until it's completely ready, but I also, in the meantime, the oven beeped, so I did pull out the potatoes, which you can go and see over here, and the zucchini. So all of that is ready for us to start to create our masterpiece. Oh, come look at the bechamel now. See how it's already nice. See how it's already starting
in 1
to-
minute.
Yeah, and so it's just those two little tricks, and then you just need to make sure that you just keep on mixing and mixing and mixing, because with the bechamel, if you stop mixing, it will for sure burn at the bottom, okay? So this is where all of the work needs to be done, and once it starts to get to the boiling temperature, that's when we're really gonna start to lower it down. That's the oven ready to tell me that we are good to put the moussaka in, but I am not ready yet.
Let's wait. Okay, so what's next after this? How much more thicker are we looking for?
We're looking for just a little bit more. So you won't want it to really just as opposed to drip, we want it to clump. So we're about there.
Okay.
So I'm just going to turn it off, but keep it on the heat, but just no actual continuous heat coming through.
Yeah.
And we're just going to continue to mix. And then, like I said, we want it to be, so it's think of it like coating a spoon. So once we're at that coating a spoon, that's at the perfect temperature and the perfect consistency.
See that?
So see how it's leaving the marks where you're dropping it?
Yeah.
So that's what we want. So I'm just going to take it off, and then we're going to get ready to mantle everything together. So our sauce, I just wanted to mix up, and now we are going to take, this is about a half a cup, measuring cup. The heat is on underneath, so that's why it's doing that, but I just don't have any other space to do it, so I have no choice but to do it right here, because the tray is hot from the eggplants being on it. So we're going to do this, and then we're just going to spread the eggplant, the meat.
It's coming from hot to hot, so.
Yes, true. Okay, so we just want a little layer, and that's to obviously protect the potatoes from getting burnt at the bottom.
So you said the potatoes go first because they're more
Yes.
structurally solid to hold the whole.
Yes. So I actually do think I'm going to move this. I'm going to move potatoes over here.
If you don't burn yourself.
No, this corner here is fine. So I'm going to move this here so that we have more space. Okay, so potatoes first. I'm right-handed, so I need my left hand to hold this so I can grab the potatoes. Okay, so we're just going to simply layer them like so. And again, it's quite hot, so. Doesn't need to be perfect. They can overlap, they don't have to. I'm going to use a fork to assist the actions
And these potatoes, the zucchini zucchini, the eggplant, they're all going to cook for another hour, you said?
Yes.
So they're going to like soften up and mesh together, yeah?
Yes, exactly. So that's why in the oven they ended up being in for around 20 minutes. So yeah, so that's why it's still, you can see like the thinner ones here started getting a little bit crispy. So again, it doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, so just making it like this. I probably could have dealt with another potato as well, but the potatoes really did shrink in size. So when I kind of estimated before, it looked like it was enough, but I would have preferred to have one more potato just as a base, but it'll still give good taste, but it's just to my preference. I would have preferred one extra potato, but we work with what we got. Okay, so we're just gonna sprinkle a little bit of salt, and then we're gonna add our next meat layer. So I'm just gonna go and spread. And now to this is what, Stavros? What am I putting next?
I see some figs. I see some figs in the corner over here.
We're not adding figs. We are adding our eggplants. So we're gonna do this. Like so.
How's the eggplant in numbers? I think you have enough, yeah?
I think so, yeah. It's just the potatoes that seem to shrink more in size, but that's okay. Perfect. And now we're gonna add again a sprinkle of salt on this layer. And then we're going to do our meat sauce again.
I wonder how old this recipe is, eh?
That's something for you to know.
Who knows? I'm definitely going to put thousands.
Yeah. Well, let us know in the comments and we'll check it out.
At
and
least
see.
2,500, 3,000 years old. Who knows? Maybe longer.
Yeah. And again, traditionally you could do both the lamb or the beef. So the grocery store today, the beef looked amazing. So that's why I opted for the beef.
You can do a mixture too, right?
You can, yeah, like a kebab style with a mixture of lamb and beef. No problem. I think also traditionally our kids are more used to the beef version, so that's what I also learned more from your mom. So I think I always just go back to that as opposed to the lamb. Okay, now our final layer is zucchini. So again, I'm just gonna squish this in there.
That zucchini smells good.
Yes, and then actually it was good with the zucchini too. Perfect. And then we're going to sprinkle it with salt again. And then we're going to add our final saucing layer.
You're going to pour the whole thing on this
No,
one?
no. It's too much sauce actually, so I'm just going to put as much as I need. Otherwise, it will come through with the bechamel, so I don't need. Well, maybe I'll see. Once I add this, I'll see if I need it all or see if it's too much.
It's quite a nice dish though. I mean, with 400 grams of beef, you got like a whole tray you can feed a family easily 1.5 times, 2 times, depending on the numbers and how hungry they are.
Yeah, I think they are gonna actually finish the whole thing. And also, I was gonna say you have the milk in there too, right? So.
Looks good.
Yeah, I mean, you could eat it even at this level right now because everything is really cooked, but wait until the bechamel goes in and just brings this whole thing to life.
how long is it going to cook in the oven?
It's going to go in for an hour. So I'm going to check at 45 minutes because sometimes I find here it's like a little bit faster. So I would say 45 minutes to an hour in the oven.
Let's see that bechamel.
Nice bechamel sauce here. So you can see, because it's been sitting, like just even for that 10 minutes that it took me to make this, not even, it starts to get that layer on top. So I'm just gonna pour it. Again, this is not, you know, perfect in terms of just see if spread this out, and then we're going to add the cheese to the top before we throw it in the oven.
What cheese are you putting on top?
So if you have caffalo then you can do that one. You can do Parmesan, any sort of like hard cheese that you have is going to be the best because it'll give it the flavor and also just give it a little bit of that brown color on the top.
Nice. And what are you using today, Caffalo Galghiera?
No, I actually have some leftover Parmesan from making lasagna, so I'm just going to use that one.
Perfect. So whatever the kitchen has.
Yeah, exactly. So the sauce is coming through, which is fine, but you know,
It's okay, it's just flavor.
it's more flavor, and like I said, it's not. This is not, you know, for a restaurant. This is a family style meal, so it's not.
Yeah, that's what happened at Ratatouille
It's
too. And the
not gonna be
guy,
perfect.
what's his name? What was the critiquer's name in Ratatouille, the movie?
Yeah, I remember.
He fell in love with a peasant dish.
Yes, exactly. So this, and now we add the cheese on top. So we just have the cheese and we sprinkle on the top here. And again, this is more for flavor. If you don't have any cheese, like honestly, I baked it before, like last minute, not thinking like, oh shoot, I was gonna make this dish. So I have baked it in the oven without cheese on top, and it's completely fine. But it just, the cheese does give it some nice brown color. So if you got it, use it. If you don't panic, it'll still turn out. Voila, into the oven it goes. So I have the oven set again for 175, which is 350. I'm gonna put it on the middle rack here, and then we are gonna set the alarm, like I said, for the 45 minutes first, and then I'm gonna check it out to see if it's cooked. Otherwise, I'm gonna add another 15 or so minutes.
And you got it on convection, right?
Exactly. So that's why I'm putting 45, just because it will cook at a faster time. If you don't have convection, then you will need around the hour mark.
Alright, so we'll see you in 45 minutes.
See you soon. Okay, so the 45 minutes has gone off, so it is clearly fully ready. I'm just going to turn off the full oven, and I'm going to slide this out, and we're just going to set it to rest because it will have to sit for at least like 25 to 30 minutes. Even an hour is fine before you cut it. So you can see how the cheese gave it a really nice color on the top. So we're just gonna sit this out here, and then I'm gonna slice it in about half an hour. Okay, so we are ready to cut our masterpiece here. And you see just the time, like it's been sitting for half an hour. So just that amount of time is good to basically let it cool down to be able to get a nice slice out of this. And look at the color, hey? Looks beautiful. If I don't say so myself. Now, always the first piece taking out is I am never proud of it, but we'll see. Let's hopefully for the camera it does a good job for me. Oh, pretty good. So you can see all of the layers here. So we've got the potato, we've got the eggplant, and then we've got the zucchini. So if you let it sit even longer, it'll actually continue to really set in its place. So sometimes even people let it sit for like an hour or two out and it'll still hold its temperature, but it will just actually stay more in its place. So you'll just, when you eat it, honestly, you're just gonna get a bite of everything. Genialas, yum.
You're gonna post the recipe on the...
The recipe will be posted below, guys. Enjoy. Yum.